Are you one of 5 in 10 Caucasians that suffers from an embarrassing and debilitating genetic affliction? Can you not leave the house without hitting or raping a woman? Unable to resist the urge to belittle, shame and sexually harass your female colleagues at work? Did you spend your childhood beating the shit out of your friends at barbecues? Do you still spend your social gatherings revealing your spectacular abs and whipping out your member to compare? Then, I'm afraid, what you have feared is true. You suffer from a horrific disease. Maleness. Don't worry, my disgusting hairy friend. There is a cure. Anti-man. Proven to reduce your testosterone and eradicate your masculinity within 30 days or your money back. This is the message that a growing number of gender activists and corporations that wish to adopt a virtuous facade, most recently Gillette, would have us believe. But what's the reality here? Based on social norms that have been developed over thousands of years, underpinned by biology, and using empirical evidence, I seek to rationalise masculinity and answer an important question. Is being masculine bad for society? A good start would be finding out what is masculinity anyway. It is entirely distinct from an individual's biological sex. Sure, masculine traits stem from a person's sex, but if we're getting technical, then masculinity itself is a social construct that describes a set of traits innately present in most men. The same traits, however, can often be found in women, not always and often to lesser extremes. The traits of masculinity can also differ slightly between world cultures, but the core traits that define a masculine man are universally consistent. What are these traits? Stoicism, resilience, strength, courage, independence, and assertiveness. Now, before we all judge men for being too assertive, occasionally resorting to violence, or too stoic for not displaying emotion, it's important to understand where these traits actually come from. The traits themselves are not social constructs. Men don't become masculine just because we tell them that crying is for girls and man up. Masculinity in men may be enhanced or even enforced by certain cultures, by social pressures, but make no mistake, masculine traits originate from our biology, constructed over a period of 200,000 years. Long ago, nature's doctrine of survival of the fittest decided that the most efficient way to perpetuate a species through reproduction and ensure its longevity was by dividing each species into 2 sexes. This division is seen across the entire animal kingdom. What can also be observed in all animal species and humans are the different roles inherent within each sex. With the exception of the male pregnancy witnessed in the Synephidae family of fish, the young of all species are incubated by the female sex. It therefore makes sense, logistically, that females evolved to have behavioural and physiological traits that are conducive to the healthy development and loving nurture of their young. Empathy, emotional awareness, patience, and tenderness. Obviously, it was also vital that the females never put themselves or their young in a situation of danger, so evolution naturally put that onus on the other sex, males. Males developed a greater aptitude for physical strength and the natural courage to hunt to provide food for their tribe and women. Men evolved to have aggressiveness, resilience, and assertiveness, underpinned by undying competitiveness, so they could compete against rival males and protect their tribe from other, scarier tribes who had larger, pointier sticks. Sure, those traits were essential pre-civilization, but why can't we get rid of them today through the systematic emasculation of men? Are they not redundant in the 21st century? Don't such traits cause nothing but toxicity and evil throughout our societies? These are the edicts that many social justice warriors seek to mandate on modern men. Masculinity is a shifting social construct. Its very nature has mutated over the generations. Today, it is more socially acceptable than ever before in the history of humanity for a man to show emotion and share his feelings with his friends, for a man to cry, for a man to choose another man as a sexual partner and marry him. All of these are truly amazing and undeniably positive advances towards a better, more harmonic world, and none of these things degrade a man's masculinity. But these are not the traits that authoritarian leftist activists are trying to suppress. What is under fire is the more assertive, domineering and tough side that is biologically present in every man to varying degrees. Such traits and the actions which can be associated with them are too often referred to as toxic masculinity. The issue here is that so-called toxic behaviour is not endemic to masculine men, or even men. Evil and malice are present across all demographic cross-sections of society. There's no denying that men commit crime, and nobody would claim that either sex is perfect. But before shunning masculinity, it's imperative that we understand how dangerous this can be for one simple reason. Masculinity does far more good than bad for everyone, both men and women. And not just a little bit more good. For every bad deed that a man commits in the world, I would propose that well over 1,000 good deeds are carried out by other masculine men every day. Only a fool would argue that men never do bad. In 2014, 73% of those arrested in the US were male. But to live in a society where the majority of good men are publicly shamed for the crimes of the minority of bad men is damaging to the mental health and sense of purpose of men the world over. Especially when this underlying and natural biological trait of the male species are being labelled as the cause of all these evils. It also pulls all the attention away from the many beautiful things that most masculine men achieve every single day, which vastly outnumber the horrendous things a much smaller portion of masculine men do. Do not forget that masculinity was born from a natural desire for men to provide for and protect their family. When a man takes his daughter to school, gives her a kiss and wishes her a good day, that is masculinity doing good. When a man works 10 hours a day to feed, clothe and shelter his family, that is masculinity doing good. When a firefighter rescues a child from a burning building, that is masculinity doing good. When a policeman arrests a perpetrator of domestic abuse, rape or murder, that is masculinity doing good. When a young man shields his sweetheart with his jacket when it rains, that is masculinity doing good. When a surgeon saves a person's life through open heart surgery, that is masculinity doing good. When Alexander Fleming invented penicillin, saving millions of lives, that was masculinity doing good. And when millions of brave men gave their lives to prevent fascism and tyranny from engulfing our world in 1914 and 1939, that was masculinity doing good. The truth is, trying to control a tiny minority of bad men by quashing masculinity in all men is an exercise in futility and idiocy. Bad men will not stop being bad because they become less masculine. They will only become more frustrated, and frustrated people are more likely to commit injustices than content people. The result will be fewer good masculine men to stop the bad men and bad women from being bad. Masculinity and femininity are the two pillars that underpin a cohesive, progressive and productive society that is beneficial to all. Shorten or remove either one of those pillars and society as we know, the society that we've built over thousands of years and the society that we've protected against tyranny and evil, will come crashing down beneath our very feet. Yet, How does modern society thank these everyday, incredible men? They are widely vilified. On social media, in the press, in schools, and in popular culture, and now even in advertisements, the historic bastion of greedy capitalism. This has resulted in men committing suicide at 3 times the rate of women. And these men who help build and improve our society every day face other challenges at an alarming ratio. Men are twice as likely to be the victim of a violent assault or robbery, 3.5 times more likely to be murdered. 96% of workplace fatalities happen to men. Men are 5.6 times as likely as women to be incarcerated. 86% of the homeless population is male. Boys have been lagging behind girls in educational achievement since 1991, and the gap is widening every year. This last point indicates a far more concerning fact. That the increasing shaming of masculinity in our schools is causing a crisis in the development of young men. Competitive games that are deemed too aggressive, such as British Bulldog or Tag, and Dodgeball, have been long since banned in many school playgrounds in the West. A few schools in Britain are even considering banning the sport of rugby, a fundamental part of masculine development in young boys since 1823. Whilst these games and sports can, on rare occasions, cause injuries, and perhaps we should find ways to make them safer for children, they do play a vital role in developing character and a strong competitive attitude in young boys that will enable them to later in life compete in the workplace and ultimately protect their family. In fact, competitiveness, which is predominantly a masculine trait, has been mostly eradicated from our schools in the West. During sports day and other events, everyone is given a participation award. There is no winner or loser. I failed miserably at sports. I finished last on sports day, and I wasn't given a trophy for taking part. I got nothing. And you know what it taught me? The next time, I need to try harder. That I would never amount to anything unless I put the effort in and practice my socks off. Not just in sports, but in every aspect of life. That was one of the most important lessons I have ever learned. In the same way that over-sanitization during youth leads to a weak immune system, mollycoddling children is not how strong societies are built. Doing so is, in reality, a threat to building a strong society for the next generation. But nowhere is misandry more rife than in Swedish schools. Several preschools and primary schools in Sweden have gone to extensive efforts to remove the words boy and girl from the children's vocabularies, preferring the gender-neutral pronoun hen. A legal addendum in 1998 mandated all schools in Sweden to actively work against gender stereotypes. This all sounds very utopian in theory, but in practice, it is nothing short of brainwashing, and it leads to a difficult and confusing progression into teenhood and adulthood for these poor children. They are being taught to ignore basic science, go against the natural biological pull of their very own bodies. This will only achieve to create a generation of frustrated, passive men. Without being free to indulge in their masculinity in the playground and at home, then these boys will grow into men who are unable to compete in the workplace and in personal matters, unable to defend themselves and their families. If evidence of this brainwashing were needed, then I endeavour you to look no further than Seafarers Preschool in Sweden, where boys and girls as young as 1 are actually segregated so their natural gender roles can be systematically indoctrinated out of them. Boys are made to play with toy kitchens and give each other massages. Girls are forced to practice shouting no. A so-called gender specialist is employed by the preschool to pick up on and coerce boys who refuse to partake in feminine activities such as dance. Boys are encouraged to wear dresses, and the teachers celebrated when one particular girl, who used to be very girly according to her mother, was reared by the preschool to become more boisterous, and her parents noted that she had become more cheeky and defiant at home. Shockingly, it was observed that when the children were no longer forced to play with toys typically favoured by the opposite gender, that the boys reverted to playing with cars and the girls' dolls. The boys shouted and hit more. Boys will be boys. The preschool says, "This is not okay." Well, golly, it's almost as if their biology compels them to adhere to their natural gender roles, and that forcibly preventing them from embracing this is actually child abuse. Just a thought. An inability to protect his family is not the only issue that an emasculated man will face in adulthood. What is just as crucial is a man's ability to lead and inspire his family, particularly his children. When a masculine presence is stripped away from an otherwise nuclear family unit, the consequences can often be disastrous. Don't get me wrong, there is no rule that children can't thrive in a non-nuclear family. Different family setups can absolutely nurture incredible children. But looking solely at fatherlessness, the statistics show a clear trend. Children who grow up without a father figure are twice as likely to drop out of school, twice as likely to become obese, and 4 times as likely to succumb to poverty. They are also more likely to commit crime, go to prison, abuse alcohol or drugs, and fatherless girls are 7 times as likely to fall pregnant as a teen. After all this rhetoric, there's an important distinction that must be made. I myself, and I sincerely hope that other men out there, have no desire to strip men of their right to choose how they want to develop through life. If men want to go against their natural masculinity or even seek to abolish it, then we should all work to protect their rights to do so, and me, I say more power to you. But it's so very important that men have the right to choose. Just like freedom of speech, it's essential that as a society we work to protect a man or a woman's right to live how they want to live, be who they want to be, walk how they want to, talk how they want to, and wear whatever they damn well desire. But when it comes to a man's right to fully embrace and assert his masculinity in a positive way, it's labelled as sexist male privilege by the media and tribal activists on the internet and on campus. In doing so, a man's right to choose to embrace his masculinity is being eroded more and more so every year. That's why it's vital that when companies such as Gillette seek to tar all men with the same discriminatory brush and suppress our right to embrace our biology, that we fight to retain our right to be whoever the hell we want to be. Masculinity should be empowered, not shamed and belittled. Men everywhere must continue to show the world that overall, masculinity is a force for good, not evil. Never be ashamed of your masculinity, my hairy friends, because it built the roads beneath your feet. Thank you for watching.